Every man looks at a woman's body, but the rare man learns to read it with humility, nuance, and respect. And if you're here on the mind reversal, it's because you're not chasing tricks, you want real psychology, the kind that upgrades how you see, feel, and treat the person in front of you. So let's talk about 7 quiet truths her body transmits without mysticism, without stereotypes, and with deep care. Because her body is not a code to crack or a trophy to win. It is a living nervous system shaped by history, safety, hormones, breath, sleep, stress, culture, and the way you show up right now. First, the shape of her posture tells you more than the shape of her curves, rounded shoulders, a lifted rib cage that barely moves, a neck craned forward, a jaw that stays tight as she speaks. These are not attitudes. They are stress signatures of a sympathetic nervous system running hot, the body saying, I'm bracing, while an open chest, slow neck movements, and a soft jaw signals social safety and ventral vagal calm. So before you judge attraction or compatibility, notice whether your presence helps her shoulders drop and her breath deepen. Second, her breathing pattern is a live feat of trust. Shallow, upper chest breaths mean vigilance, not disinterest. And when you slow your own exhale and speak from your diaphragm, you invite co regulation, that beautiful mammal to mammal syncing where two nervous systems borrow calm from each other. And that, more than lines or looks, is what lets the evening expand from small talk into something human. Third, hands and lips reveal how she negotiates comfort and control, fidgeting fingers, picking at cuticles, gripping a glass like a life raft, or pressing lips thin between sentences. All whisper, I'm managing my edges, while unhurried hand gestures and lips that rest naturally, not posed, whisper, I can be here. So instead of reading her mouth as a symbol of sensuality, read it as a signal of safety. The softer the jaw, the safer she feels, and the safer she feels, the more of her real self you meet. Fourth, voice is a barometer of state, not a billboard of identity. A higher, quicker tone doesn't mean immaturity. It often means activation. A slower, deeper tone does not automatically mean confidence. It can mean practiced armor. So, listen for variability, because a voice that can speed up and slow down, rise and fall, laugh and settle, is a voice inside a flexible nervous system, and flexibility is gold in love. Fifth, movement rhythm beats out a private drum fast. Clipped steps, darting eyes, and rigid transitions between sitting and standing usually reflect hyperarousal or time pressure, while fluid pacing, playful pivots, and easy shifts from one posture to another reflect felt safety and higher parasympathetic tone. And here is where you matter. Your pace teaches her body what tempo belongs with you. So choose the tempo you want to be remembered by. 6. Scent is not romance novel magic. It's immunology and memory. And your reaction to her natural smell is a brutally honest yes, no, that your thinking brain cannot negotiate. So respect it either way, because forcing chemistry where your body says no becomes resentment. And ignoring a profound yes out of fear becomes regret. And seventh, the question you came for the most misunderstood, most argued over, most projecting male insecurity onto female body. Question, what does it mean when she feels tight? And what does it reveal about her character or past? Here is the sober psychology in simple words. What you feel is not a moral verdict and not a ledger of her history. It is a moment by moment expression of pelvic floor tone, driven by the autonomic nervous system, hormones, blood flow, and context. And it changes with arousal, anxiety, pain, trauma, memories, cycle phase, breath, and, crucially, the level of emotional and physical safety you provide. If she feels guarded, dry, clenched, or unresponsive. The wise man does not blame anatomy or count ghosts. He slows down, widens time, helps her body leave defense and enter play. You do this by co-regulating longer exhales, slower voice, softer gaze, by deepening consent, ask, wait, listen, adapt, by offering warmth over performance. Less, are you there yet? More, how do you want to feel? And by honoring pacing, desire grows in low pressure, not in interrogation lights. If she feels selectively constricted, understand that this can be protectiveness, pain, or a reflexive brace from previous experiences. So the goal is not to get past it, the goal is to make it unnecessary. And you do that by becoming a predictable, attuned presence whose touch never outruns her breath. If she feels embracing, vibrant, pulsing, what many men label tight, that is not some static batch you discover. It is a dynamic complement. You co-created. Her brain perceives enough safety to allow arousal to increase vascular engorgement and reflexive tone, which you interpreted as a feeling in your hands. And because this is state dependent, it can appear one day and vanish the next, not because she changed, but because the conditions did. And sometimes those conditions are as simple as sleep, hydration, stress at work, or where you too are emotionally. In other words, what you feel is feedback, not fate. And the more you treat it as a dialogue, the more her body will trust your presence as a place where it can experiment, expand, and enjoy. Now let's reverse a few common myths without shaming anyone. Her body shape does not forecast her loyalty. Her cup size does not predict her empathy. Her hip width does not reveal her destiny, and her pelvic tone does not tally her past. Real predictors of long-term bliss are not found in silhouettes, but in skills, self-awareness, conflict, repair, boundaries, play, curiosity, and a shared appetite for telling the truth kindly. If you want to be the man who sees, practice the psychology of micro-safety. Announce your touch before you offer it. Match her pace, notice when her breath leaves, and invite it back. Ask better questions. What would help you feel softer right now? Celebrate no as proof she trusts you, and let your ego be bored while her body catches up. Learn the language of pressure and presence. Pressure is urgent, performative, outcome hungry. Presence is patient, attuned, process loving. Pressure notices parts. Presence welcomes a person. Pressure makes the body brace. Presence lets the body bloom. And remember that arousal is not a switch, but a sequence, especially for a nervous system that has learned to protect. So, your best strategy is to become the man whose very nearness lowers cortisol and widens possibility. In practice, that means you keep promises, you own mistakes quickly, you repair after missteps without defensiveness, you cultivate play that has no agenda, and you refuse to make intimacy a test she can fail. If you do this, her body will write you a love letter in a language without words. Shoulders dropping, voice warming, laughter arriving sooner, eyes lingering longer, breath deepening, and eyes lingering longer. breath deepening. And yes, pelvic tone responding in ways that feel like the two of you are the only ones in the room. The secret is not hidden in her anatomy. It's reflected in your atmosphere. So when you notice tightness, ask yourself, have I built enough safety for desire to move freely? Have I offered enough presence for her nervous system to explore without bracing? Have I earned the right to be trusted with the most delicate muscles her body uses to say yes to life? If the answer is no, that's not a failure, that's an invitation to become better. If the answer is yes, be grateful and stay gentle. And if you forget everything else, remember this one reversal. Her body is not a puzzle to solve, but a person to soothe. The day you stop measuring and start listening is the day you graduate from looking to seeing. If this unlocked something for you, let me know where you're watching from and what you noticed first: her posture, her breath, her voice, her pace. And if you want more psychology that turns attraction into understanding, you know where to find me. This is the Mind Reversal, and we don't do superficial